This evening, first, Doubleday Hotel fire probe nearing conclusion. Fire investigators say they're close to determining what sparked the blaze that destroyed the Doubleday Hotel just hours after 11-year-old Adriana Young's body was discovered in the pool. And that's not the only property being scrutinized. Plus, violent night in New Amsterdam. 2 dead, 1 injured. A deadly argument turns tragic in Angoy's Avenue. 2 men are dead, a woman is hospitalized, and a suspect is behind bars after a neighborhood dispute spirals into bloodshed. Also, President Ali on press freedom and the perils of AI. On World Press Freedom Day, President Irfaan Ali calls on journalists to guard truth and on CARICOM to regulate AI's growing impact on the media. We'll tell you what Guyana is planning in the next 12 months. Meanwhile, backpacks, books, and $55,000. The government announces the return of the Because We Care cash grant, now at a record $55,000 per student. We've got the start date and what parents need to know. Finally, gold prices soar as investors seek safe haven. A global gold rush is underway as prices hit record highs. What's fueling it? Stay tuned, these stories and more tonight on Headline News Update. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for May 6, 2025. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Fire Chief Gregory Wickham has announced that the cause of the fire that destroyed the Doubleday Hotel at Tushin East Bank Essequibo is expected to be confirmed soon, following a scheduled meeting with investigators. Wickham stated that the investigation remains ongoing and that a final determination will be made once investigators present their findings. The hotel was set ablaze on Thursday, April 4th, shortly after the body of 11-year-old Adriana Young was discovered floating in the property's pool. The child had been reported missing by her family the day before on Wednesday, April 23rd, around 1:30 p.m. Her death sparked outrage among residents who gathered in large numbers outside the hotel, demanding justice and accusing the police of negligence. The protests escalated with demonstrators burning tires and debris along the main road and eventually storming the hotel compound. Parts of the building were soon engulfed in flames. Shortly after, a second fire was reported at the nearby residence of the hotel's owner. The cause of that fire is also under investigation and is expected to be disclosed in the coming days. Authorities continue to probe the circumstances surrounding Young's death, the subsequent unrest, and the cause of the fires. On a different note, police are investigating a deadly altercation that took place on Sunday, May 4, 2025 in Angoy's Avenue, New Amsterdam, which resulted in 2 men dead and a woman injured. The deceased have been identified as 52-year-old Leon Fordyce and Sean LaFleur, both from the same area. The woman, Angelica New Year, was stabbed during the incident but is currently stable in the New Amsterdam hospital. Preliminary reports show that around 10:30 p.m., LaFleur, Neon de Young, and a man, only name given as Thunder Bristol, were involved in an argument with New Year over threats made against her son, Gregory de Young. The dispute escalated, with New Year being stabbed in the abdomen and Fordyce receiving a fatal blow to the head. LaFleur, also stabbed, was taken to the hospital but died from his injuries on May 5th while being transferred to the Georgetown Public Hospital. Gregory de Young has been arrested and the investigation is ongoing. In other news, police are investigating a fatal accident that occurred early Saturday morning on the Burnham Drive, Wisma, Linden, resulting in the death of 23-year-old motorcyclist Kellon Sumner. Preliminary reports indicate that around 1:40 a.m., 48-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Courtney Mendonza, a member of the Ghana Defense Force, was driving a motorcar PWW 2029 south along Burnham Drive. As he made a right turn, Sumner, who was riding motorcycle CP 6059, allegedly traveling at high speed, collided with the car's front left side. Sumner was not wearing a helmet, fell onto the road, and sustained serious injuries. He was rushed to the Linden Hospital complex where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The body was taken to the Linden Senior Citizen Association Funeral Home for a post-mortem examination. Both vehicles involved have been lodged at the Wisma Police Station for inspection. Breathalyzer tests on Mendonca showed alcohol level of 0.045 BAC and 0.041 BAC, individuals may experience slow reflexes, reaction time, and impaired judgment at this level. He has been granted $100,000 bail while investigations continue. Stick around when we return. President Ali urges media integrity and regional AI framework on World Press Freedom Day, and the government will begin distributing Because We Care education cash grants on May 12th.
Mother's Day, Digicel is stirring up the love and cooling things down.
Imagine surprising mom with a brand new fully stocked fridge.
Digicel is making it a reality.
You can win one of 4 fully stocked fridges
worth over $500,000.
Just top up with $1,000 or more for a chance to win weekly. It's that easy.
Top up today. The more you top up, the more chances you have to win.
Happy Mother's Day from Digicel. Better connected.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. How to apply for registration? You must visit the GCOM registration office that is responsible for your area of residence to apply for registration or name change or correction. You must be in possession of the following source documents as might be relevant: original birth certificate or valid Guyana passport for new registration, original marriage certificate and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by marriage, original deed poll and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by deed poll, original naturalization certificate and original birth certificate or valid passport in the case of naturalization. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at another address since you were registered. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali has lauded the Guyanese media for its critical role in shaping public opinion, promoting accountability, and guiding national discourse, while urging a united regional approach to managing artificial intelligence in the media. Speaking at a World Press Freedom Day brunch at State House on Saturday, President Ali underscored the immense responsibility journalists carry, especially in this election year. He called for fact-based ethical journalism and encouraged media professionals to remain steadfast in integrity and professionalism.
On this World Press Freedom Day, I urge every journalist in Guyana to hold fast to these principles and to do their job with integrity, courage, and professionalism. Together, let us champion the ideals of press freedom.
The president also warned against the dangers of misinformation and politicized media, highlighting the need for vigilance as press freedom can be misused for divisive or malicious purpose. Addressing the theme reporting in the Brave New World, the impact of artificial intelligence on press freedom and the media, President Ali expressed concerns about AI's influence on media ethics, accuracy, and public trust. He called on CARICOM to adopt a collective approach to AI regulation, noting Guyana's commitment to developing a national framework for AI and digitalization within 12 months.
For CARICOM, I am positioning this morning that we pursue a common path because we don't have the capacity individually to do this. That would look at the intellectual and professional conduct of AI. That would look at the challenges, threats, and opportunities of AI. That would look at policies, regulations, and legislations that would ensure AI does not go unchecked. If we don't do it, it's a ticking time bomb. If we don't ensure that AI is utilized, especially when it comes to the press and information dissemination, because information is so powerful that it can destabilize instantaneously.
During the event, several journalists were honored for their contributions to the profession. Ron Robinson received the Lifetime Achievement Award. Guyana also improved its position on the 2025 World Press Freedom Index, now ranking 73rd out of 180 countries, up from 77th last year. In other news, the family of 11-year-old Adriana Young has announced the postponement of her funeral, citing the need for space and clarity as they continue to grieve. In a heartfelt statement, Adriana's mother expressed her deep sorrow over the loss of her daughter, describing her as the light of their lives. The family thanked the public for their overwhelming support and understanding during this difficult time and requested continued prayers. Meanwhile, the circumstances surrounding Adriana's death remains under investigation, with new developments involving a false claim made by a nursing assistant. In a social media voice note, Tiana Serena Lewis King, a nursing assistant at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, falsely stated that Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony permitted her to be present during Adriana's post-mortem examination. Dr. Anthony vehemently denied the accusation, clarifying that he had never met or spoken to Lewis King and had not instructed her to be there. The post-mortem examination was conducted by 3 internationally renowned pathologists who determined that the cause of Adriana's death was drowning. The procedure was also videotaped for transparency, and the Guyana Police Force confirmed that no such nursing assistant was present during the post-mortem. In response to the false claim, the police have issued a wanted bulletin for Lewis King, who later reported to the police station with her lawyer. The police are continuing their investigation into the matter, which they believe is an attempt to create public mischief and obstruct justice. As the family mourns their loss, they are left with many unanswered questions about how Adriana's life was tragically cut short. Moving on, the government of Guyana will begin distributing the Because We Care Education Cash Grant by May 12, 2025. This year, every child in both public and private schools will receive $55,000, comprising a $50,000 cash grant and a $5,000 uniform voucher. This is according to an announcement made by Minister of Education Priya Manichan today at the Ministry of Education's Arrival Day event.
Very happy to say that we begin the Because We Care cash grants, as we had announced earlier, sometime all the way around March. We had said that we would begin the Because We Care cash grants on the 12th of May, and I'm very happy to say that next week on the 12th of May, Monday, we begin in regions 9 and 7, and the following week we begin in region 2 and 5, and every other region will follow thereafter.
The grant was increased by $40,000 to $55,000 in 2025 national budget. A total of $11 billion has been allocated to fund the initiative, which will benefit approximately 205,000 students across the country. Parents and guardians are reminded of the criteria for the cash grant.
The child must have been on the register, that the school would have provided that register that was verified a few times by the region, by our central ministry, by officers. And every child will receive $55,000, $50,000 being Because We Care cash grant, and $5,000 for uniform and school supplies. Parents, it's a very easy process. Parents are required to walk with their ID card. ID could be passport, ID card, driver's license. If you don't have any of those, then someone from the community or village, such as a head teacher or tushao, would have to verify that you are the person you say you are, and that you are the parent or guardian of this child. If you can't make it to pick up the grant, then you can send an authorization. We are going to be issuing what that should look like.
The Because We Care Cash Grant program is part of the government's ongoing efforts to ease the financial burden on parents and support education. The grant has seen consistent increases in recent years. Persons are encouraged to follow the Ministry of Education's schedule to see which date and place you should attend to uplift your grant.
You would have to follow very carefully online on all our platforms in the newspapers when your region is going to be served and where each school will be served. This year we have the most locations possible. We try to do every school in the school itself, or in the school's compound at least. We have the full cooperation of the police as well as private security services that would help us with making sure this is all done safely. And so we're looking forward to beginning this grant. I want to re-emphasize, if you don't see your region starting on Monday, I don't want to see conversations such as, oh gosh, when they start in my region, like his only dog is living. I've seen those kinds of things. We are going to get to every single child before the beginning of school, because we're staggering this to be able to do it in an effective way. But there's a schedule, and so you're going to have to take your own responsibility in paying attention to see when it is coming to your region and where your child's grant will be distributed.
The Ministry of Education is urging parents to be prepared for the May 12 start date as the government continues to invest in educational development and support for families nationwide. Don't go away after the break. Haitian demand resignations as gang violence spiral, and Lady Gaga concert bomb plot foiled in Brazil, 2 arrested.
This Mother's Day, Digicel is stirring up the love and cooling things down.
Imagine surprising mom with a brand new fully stocked fridge.
Digicel is making it a reality.
You can win one of 4 fully stocked fridges
worth over $500,000.
Just top up with $1,000 or more for a chance to win weekly. It's that easy.
Top up today. The more you top up, the more chances you have to win.
Happy Mother's Day from Digicel. Better connected.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lenders Jewelry Empire.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. How to apply for registration? You must visit the GCOM registration office that is responsible for your area of residence to apply for registration or name change or correction. You must be in possession of the following source documents as might be relevant: original birth certificate or valid Guyana passport for new registration, original marriage certificate and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by marriage, original deed poll and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by deed poll, original naturalization certificate and original birth certificate or valid passport in the case of naturalization. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at another address since you were registered. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. In the Caribbean, dozens marched through Haiti's capital Sunday, demanding security and the resignation of the Prime Minister and Transitional Council amid escalating gang violence. Protesters mourned slain community leaders and blamed government inactions as gangs expand control across Port-au-Prince. The unrest has left over 1,600 dead this year alone. The U.S. recently designated top Haitian gangs as foreign terror groups, while a UN-backed police mission struggles due to understaffing and underfunding. Meanwhile, in South America, Colombia is on high alert after a series of deadly attacks that claimed the lives of 27 police officers and soldiers. President Gustavo Petro has announced heightened security in response, with one of the country's most powerful armed groups believed to be behind the violence. Al Jazeera's Alexandra Rampieti reports.
In a televised address, President Gustavo Petro defended his policies and announced new measures against armed groups behind weeks of targeted killings of police and soldiers.
Violence is changing in both its structures and underlying causes, and understanding those changes, detecting them, even predicting them, is key to an effective security policy. Public policy must adapt to the shifting nature of violence in Colombia. If we apply policies designed for a previous phase that no longer reflects the current reality, we will fail.
The move aims to reassure Colombians. In the past weeks, at least 27 members of the country's security forces were killed in a wave of violence led by the Clan del Golfo, one of the country's most powerful criminal organizations. Colombia's defense minister says the tactics mirror those used by Pablo Escobar's drug cartel in the 1980s, including paid assassins, and is a backlash against recent military operations.
Despite the intentions of these organized groups against our uniformed personnel, our military forces and police have responded forcefully.
Petro's ambitious push for total peace through negotiations with Colombia's remaining rebel groups and criminal organizations has mostly failed to produce results. Ceasefires have instead allowed many to rearm and tighten their grip on volatile regions. The result, police forces nationwide are on high alert.
The security situation has deteriorated to the point that even in major cities like the capital Bogota, the government is taking extraordinary measures, ordering all military and police personnel to avoid using their uniform when off duty, change their commute routes, and refrain from sharing their personal information on social media, all to avoid being targeted.
Security analysts say successive governments' failure to implement the 2016 peace deal with FARC rebels has fueled the rise of new criminal groups, who now dominate drug trafficking and illegal mining.
What we're seeing today is that in every region across Colombia, almost without exception, there is a deterioration in security. And what's different this time is that it's starting to affect urban areas where the majority of voters are, and it's becoming increasingly close to the center of the country, which has always been the economic heartland and the part of the country where the state presence has been the strongest.
A sobering outcome for a government that promised peace and for a country that believed its worst days were behind it. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
Brazilian police have arrested 2 individuals in connection with a planned attack targeting a Lady Gaga concert. Authorities says the suspects were allegedly planning to detonate improvised explosives during the event. The plot, reportedly orchestrated by a group promoting hate speech, was disrupted before it could be carried out. Al Jazeera's Monica Yannicure reports.
A sea of flames flood Rio de Janeiro's iconic Copacabana beach, 2 million strong, days before a highly anticipated Lady Gaga concert. More than 5,000 police officers were deployed across the city, keeping watch as the star took the stage for her first performance in Brazil since 2012. As fans celebrated what Lady Gaga called a historic night, few could have imagined the danger that had quietly been averted. It wasn't until the day after the concert that police revealed they had foiled a bomb attack targeting the concert. The alleged plot had been orchestrated online by a group spreading hate speech.
They were clearly saying they planned an attack at Lady Gaga's concert, motivated by sexual orientation, to target the LGBTQIA+ community.
Police say the investigation began 5 days before the concert, after an anonymous tip-off. 15 raids were conducted across multiple states. 2 suspects were arrested, an adult allegedly leading the plot and a teenager.
These organised groups have goals aimed at gaining notoriety in order to attract more viewers, more participants, most of them teenagers, many of them children. Our goal is to ensure that the internet is not a lawless space.
Authorities say the plan involves setting off improvised explosives, such as Molotov cocktails, during the concert. The 2 million people that were here in Copacabana Beach watching the show and Lady Gaga herself were totally unaware that their safety had been at risk. They only found out the following day through news reports. Monica Yannicure, Al Jazeera, Rio de Janeiro.
Finally, record high in gold prices spark rush for physical storage as global economic fears fuel investor demand. The price of gold has dipped slightly after hitting a historic high last week, but with ongoing economic uncertainty, particularly tied to U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war, analysts expect demand to remain strong. Al Jazeera's Patrick Fong reports.
To the east of Singapore sits one of the world's highest capacity vaults for precious metals. Encased in onyx, the reserve can hold up to 10,000 tons of silver and 500 tons of gold. Its operators moved to this facility after its previous vault ran out of space due to a surge in demand for its services during the COVID-19 pandemic.
The beautiful thing about gold is you can own it as private property, so you don't have counterparty risk, and it's intrinsically valuable.
In times of market and economic uncertainty, investors flock to gold as a storage of wealth. Gregor Gregerson is founder of the reserve. He says shipments of bullion to the facility have gone up threefold in recent weeks. Gold prices have surged to record levels as the trade war and US President Donald Trump's unpredictable policies have hammered trust in dollar assets. For many investors, it's reminiscent of the 2008 global financial meltdown.
I think we are at a much more critical phase nowadays than we were back in 2008. The fear is more on a geopolitical level and on a systemic level itself.
Wild swings in US tariff moves and protracted trade negotiations will likely maintain gold's allure. Bullion prices have risen by about 30% this year, outperforming nearly every other major asset class. It's been pushed higher in particular because of a sell-off in US government debt, another indicator of a lack of confidence in America's financial system. Some experts say precious metals are now the only true safe haven investment left. Besides the trade war, conflict in the Middle East and Ukraine, as well as global inflationary pressures, are propping up prices as well.
I think what we have now is this perfect storm where there are so many factors out there and different people will have different reasons as to why they want to buy gold. And only when we start crossing off some of those factors will we begin to see gold prices fall. But until then, I think gold prices are going to be relatively elevated.
Even though there's been some correction following the recent surge, so long as the global economy is being tested, gold's expected to continue to shine. Patrick Falk, Al Jazeera, Singapore.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's Safe TV2 Headline News for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.